Yeah, the situation currently is last night we had 2,500 hectares of area involved with a 23 kilometre perimeter, and this morning we've got 3,500 hectares. The increase in the area has predominantly gone north in the wildling tree scrubby areas, so not a high risk. Yesterday, however, unfortunately we did lose one residential property, and what has been identified overnight and this morning was there are a number of smaller outbuildings that have been lost as well. We've just come from a meeting with the residents in regard to those affected properties, and we're working on a recovery plan with them to get them in to have a look and recover what they need and get out again this afternoon, depending on the fire environment and the fire behaviour.
How many properties are there that are sort of at risk, and what steps are you taking to keep them safe?
Okay, so there's about 8 different locations over about 7 different property owners, and we have been liaising with all of those and working with them to get their resources out. So we did the initial fire attack, and we were challenged with a change of wind direction, and then we got the crews in. Once that fire run had gone through, we got the crews in on the ground to assess the properties when it was safe to do so. And then we established a night crew to patrol those properties, ensure there was no further damage, and that strategy was successful.
And so, as far as safeguarding those properties in the interim, do you bucket on them, or is there what's sort of the going forward?
We've got 16 helicopters out there and 2 fixed wings, and the majority of those are working around Sector Zulu, which is the area of those residential properties. We've also got 70 personnel on the ground with fire engines and diggers and dozers, and they are all currently, all the ground crews are focused on Sector Zulu around those residential properties. We are doing some contingency line building to the north to try and stop that backing fire that's currently backing into the northwest wind.
As far as sort of the likelihood of looking at these conditions, what's sort of the chances of getting a containment line at any point?
Oh, the chances are very good. It's just a matter of time. The weather is challenging this afternoon with a building northwest wind, and then with a southerly change, which will challenge our northern contingency lines. However, that's meant to bring some moisture and possibly snow.
Would you be able to give a rough percentage on this bigger containment line you have in it?
I was hoping to get 60% containment tonight. However, that does include the Twizel riverbed and the Lake Pukaki. So I'm confident we'll get that 60%, but there'll be those critical ends to the south and to the north that we could be challenged on.
As far as these are conditions of it's not warm, almost what you see in like sort of February getting strong. Are you able to sort of talk us through how strong some of the wind gusts are?
Just talking with the residents, that is our saviour, that this didn't happen in February. That's happened now when there is some moisture in the ground. The northwest wind is a challenge for us in regard to aircraft operating. If we're getting 40 k's of wind, we'll be struggling to fly and bucket. So that's why we want to focus on it this morning. The aircraft lifted at just after 7. They took some thermal footage of the around the properties. They identified where the hotspots are, and then we got the crews in there to deal with those.
Can you take us through a little bit of about the cause, and conversations that you've had with them?
Look, I know the fire started near the Twizel riverbed. We haven't identified the cause yet. Our investigator is en route. We are talking with 3 people that were in that vicinity and made some attempt to control the fire, and we'll be working with them over the next couple of days.
So reports of like a hunter who knocked over a stove, what's the
Well, that's
in
quite possible. It's not yet confirmed. I don't know what the cause is, but it did start over near the Twizel riverbed, and the hunters were over there. So I'm not too sure yet. We need to go through that process.
Aside from the aerial appliances, have you got a rough idea on the manpower, the people power on the ground?
We bought 140 lunches this morning.
That's a good indication. And as far as the southerly that's expected to blow through tonight, what sort of difficulties does that present with the fire potentially burning back?
Well, at the moment we've got what we call a backing fire. So it's backing into the wind up towards our fire breaks. And depending on when that southerly hits, that's going to be what we call a heading fire. It's going to be driven by wind, and it's going to go 2, 3 or 4 times as fast of what it's going now in the opposite direction and challenge our fire breaks. So that's why we're putting in bare earth fire breaks with bulldozers, etc., and then strengthen them with a chemical line inside of that.
There's like a big station, right, in sort of the area where like, can you tell us about any loss of stock or and wildlife, or what kind of, what's the extent of damage to?
I haven't got the full details of the property concerned. Pukaki Downs is the property where it started and burnt through through their buildings, etc. as well, and burnt right around their lavender farm. Their lavender farm seems to be a priority, and we spent some time working with them overnight to remove some of the valuable lavender oil out of their property.
Did you say that the lavender farm's been destroyed?
No, the lavender farm has not. The fire has burnt around the outside of the lavender farm. We were actually stationed there. We are Lavender Farm Command. That's where we're based.
Rob, you've been doing this a long time. How challenging are these conditions in comparison to sort of what you've dealt with in the past?
Look, we are seeing more of this in New Zealand. We've been overseas and we've had this environment, but we were back here in about 2008 in the Mount Cook Station fire. We've been to Alexandra in '99. We've had the Port Hills and the Tasman fires. It's going to happen. It's something that's going to be more and more frequent. It's what we talk about, the fire environment. If you get the fuel, the topography and the weather all combining together, that's what's going to cause it. So then you're only going to need an ignition and any running fire. That's why our education programs are about fire awareness and being aware of the environment as much as what the fire is doing.
So would it be fair to compare this fire at this point to what you guys experienced with the Port Hills and Nelson as far as the environment and what you're dealing with?
The only difference, as you pointed out, was the temperature. So we have got strong winds. We have got what we call available fuels that will burn. We're burning in tussock country. They're fine and available. They're dry. And they then provide heat for the heavier fuels to ignite and spread.
Is it likely that you'll need backup from other regions?
Yes, I've just been speaking with the National Manager this morning, and we are building contingencies for that. We believe that if the southerly comes through, we should be able to get our full containment, but it won't be contained and confirmed that it's not going to outside of those containment lines. So we're working on maybe a 5-day plan to mop it up.
And is there a fire burning through wilding pines?
Yes, there is. The majority of the trees we see out there, I believe, are wildling pines. However, Pukaki Downs have planted some trees up there as a strategy to control the wildling pine seedling spread. And we've been working with Pukaki Downs for a number of years. In fact, we've burnt trees up here on Pukaki Downs to assess whether the fire will actually kill the wildlings.
So is it predominantly on one farm, or is it?
Predominantly on the left-hand side of the road is one farm, and just about to threaten the boundary of the further north Wherentoshe Station boundary.
And when are you expecting that weather change to happen roughly? Not that the weather ever dials in at the right time, but
Later on this afternoon, early evening to later tonight. So there's meant to be a strong nor'wester around 4 to 5, and that's about when we have to sit the aircraft down around dark, so 6 o'clock. And although we'll have night patrols on around the properties, we won't be trying to contain it or stop it spreading outside of the containment lines to the north.
What advice have you given to residents around the area, and can you just clarify what evacuations there have been?
We haven't met with the full community of Twizel or Mount Cook yet, but we have been liaising with the affected people, the residents. One of the things I'd like to do with them is congratulate them on the work that they've done. They've taken our advice over the years and developed what we call defensible space, a distance between the fuels that will burn and their property, something like 30 or 40 metres. And they have got some incredible defendable space up there, and it's the only reason that our aircraft were able to save some of those properties.
And how big would the fire get if there was nobody on the ground sort of stopping it? Like how far could it spread?
Oh, your guess is as good as mine, but it would still be going. And I'd like to think that we have done something to steer it in the right direction, and that's pretty much what we're doing. And we just need to wait for those elements of either the fuel, the topography or the weather to come together. Hopefully we'll get rain, but we might come to a break in fuel or make a break. So those containment lines are working, and as I said, the work that the residents have done themselves have helped in protecting their properties.